All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome to Forbidden Radio, Season 2, Episode 3. I'm your host, Noah, joined by my co hosts, Luke and Angel. And we have a special guest today, right, Luke?
We do. We have author O.M. Wills with us, and we're going to be talking to him about his series of books that he has out. So, O.M., would you like to talk about yourself a little bit?
Hello, my name is Arthur Owen Wills, and I would like to thank you guys for having me today. I really appreciate it. Part of talking to myself is the fact that I always feel invisible. So the fact that you guys are hosting me at Forbidden Radio makes me feel super special and finally seen. Thank you again so much for having me. I write spicy romance sci-fi books, and I mean they're super spicy, but I wouldn't directly call them erotica because I added a realm to it. I started off writing kind of like it was erotica, but then I always wanted to build a realm, so that's what I did. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. And I believe O.M. Wills is our first outside of the originators guest on the show. Would that be right, Noah and Angel?
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. You're actually our first guest out of our little Forbidden Origins circle that we have here. We've had a couple of our own writers, and of course our bosses, Armani and Eric, a couple times. But you're the first author that's not a part of Forbidden Origins that we've had on here. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thank you. Like that's really cool. Yeah, the how this happened was pretty cool too, because I usually give up on threads. This all started from a threads post. I posted, "Hey, does anyone want to hop on my podcast?" And I don't really. That's the funny part is I don't even really have a podcast. I was starting it, and I
Oh,
did
okay.
two did two episodes. I was looking to like talk to anyone about anything because I was like like as you guys all know as being authors like being invisible's the nightmare. So I was just like, let me ask Threads if anyone wants to come on my podcast, and then I'll try it. And I think Luke wrote me first. I think Luke was like, yeah, I want to, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Or I gotta check. Was
It
it?
was Armani.
It might have been
It was
Armani. Yeah.
Armani.
Oh, okay. So it was the Forbidden Origins thread. Um, page you guys wrote me, right? Is
Yeah,
that how
that's one of the founders that runs that, and he's the one that reached out to you first because he saw you first.
okay, that's so cool. Like yeah, I just yeah, that yeah,
No,
like
yeah.
I
Threads
just
has
feel
become like a
special.
little hot spot for authors. I feel like most of
Yeah,
my feed is just like other indie writers and stuff. So I'm glad we were able to find you.
yeah, I have some advice for you guys. So what I've been doing, which is helping me, I mean very marginally helping me, is I'm trying to find readers that are not readers, if that makes sense. So I've been not following as many indie authors and authors as I've been just trying to find the readers or trying to convert readers. So what do you guys normally write? Like what's your main genre?
I think.
So go
Okay,
ahead,
yeah.
Angel.
I was gonna say a few of us do like sci-fi or fantasy, and I feel like Luke does more towards the horror side.
I do.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm scrolling through your website right now. It's really pretty actually. This is really amazing. Like who
Oh
does
yeah,
your
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
art? Like this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Like
Oh yeah,
looking at
the website is very in depth, and we have our own in-house artists. It would be Cued and Kareem that do most of the art. We also have Justin Robinson that has some art on there as well.
this is beautiful. Intro to the Etrian language. You guys have your
We,
own language?
yeah,
Yeah.
we have a linguist on the team that designed and made the Atarian language, which is the official.
Italian.
Yep, Atarian.
Oh, got you. This is dope. Like, holy crap, guys. T-shirts,
Thank you.
everything. Yeah, so like, I mean, my suggestion is like go in the trenches and like um follow like so what I'm doing now is searching keywords. So if people write sci-fi or like some kind of sci-fi, I'm kind of like following that, like, and then I follow all of those people, and even though they're not readers, then I try to like convert them because
Yeah,
what I, huh?
you coax them in.
I'm coaxing them in because what I've noticed is that as authors, we don't have time to read other people's books because we're trying to always create our own. And then I know I'm pretty certain of you guys, like, you don't want to get too deeply influenced by somebody else's realm while you're creating a realm. So you kind of like sterilize your brain so that your brain is building your stuff. So that's why I and I don't want to. And then my thing is, I also feel like pressure. Like I'm like, oh man, I want to read this book, but I don't have time because I'm trying to write my stuff. So
Yep.
I've been just trying to coax non readers that kind of show interest. I'm acting like my own algorithm pretty much is my suggestion for you guys to try that too, is to follow like the non-readers because the booktubers too, they're way too busy. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed that too, right? They're
Yeah.
all
Oh yeah,
reading Project
Mhm.
Storm and they're all ARC readers, and like you can't keep giving your books away for free.
What's
So
ARC?
ARC
oh,
readers, advanced reader copies.
advanced reader
Oh,
copy.
like reviews, like advanced like review copies, like that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yes, exactly those. And what happens is a lot of people, the booktubers, they all aim to be that. They all want to be ARC readers, and then all they get close to the author, and then the author's giving away their book for free. They're giving
Uh huh.
away the PDF copy,
Uh huh.
and a lot of these readers want to be writers. So then there's some author drama that just happened in my little circle where the girl was stealing all of the author's books
Oh
by
damn.
Whoa.
trying to stay. Yeah, she was being an ARC reader. She would get the PDF copy and she started Frankensteining her own book. And then she
That's
got
crazy.
caught. Yeah. But I
Yep.
used to deal with that a lot. Sorry if I'm hijacking, by the way. Like
No, you're good. You're good.
Hey, no, feel free.
It is about you.
Yeah.
okay,
We want
yeah,
to. We
like
want to hear you talk.
okay, so like there's a dark side to this book world. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. But I guess so. I started writing in 2015. I wrote my first book. It was a science fiction book, and it went absolutely nowhere. Like, wasn't selling. It was pure sci-fi, pretty much. And I won't tell you guys the name because then you guys will know my other pin name. But I wrote this book and it didn't really work. And I was on Tumblr and I was following all these sci-fi stuff. And the hardest people to appease are sci-fi nerds, especially the guys, because they were like, it's not Star Trek and it's not Star Wars. And they
Oh
would
yeah.
not talk about any other topic. And I was like, or it wasn't Warhammer 40K. And I was like, holy shit, like I am not doing well with this. So then I wrote a spicy scene for that book, and my wife and her friend had read it. And they were like, holy shit, this is such a turn on, but you can't write this in your real name. Fucking pull us out and write like make a spicy pen name or whatever. Like so I picked Owen Wills, Open Minded Wills for like the freaky scene because it was kind of like a period sex scene. And
Mhm.
it's not really that unique, but I liked it because like the freedom of like writing about it, and then um I don't know what's TMI for you guys, but period in my head I was like, okay, you don't need to pull out, so I'm gonna write a really fun scene where the guy doesn't need to pull out. And so a lot of readers are always talking about, oh well, if you wrote this sex scene then they should have put condom on or whatever. But I was like, fuck this, like I'm gonna go balls to the wall, write a freaky scene, and then I'm gonna say I'm open-minded wills. Like I wrote it in this, but like I like spruced it up, and then I put that into my first book, My College Desires, and it's just a really short story kind of book. Then I wrote My Gym Desires, and then uh I with those two books I joined Goodreads. And then they had, it was such weird timing. They said they had this male authors in erotica um like what is it called, like interviews pretty much, but it's like Goodreads threads.
Uh huh.
And then
Hmm.
I'm like a baby erotica author or romance author, whatever. And these ladies were daring me, like, write a double penetration scene with gay scene, like with the guy is gay or bi and the girls are and write 4 people. So I was like, fuck it, like, um it was like 2016, and like I went on a road trip, and then my wife and I had already done a road trip before, like from I live in Vancouver, so we did Vancouver to New York. So I was like, why don't I just write about a two couples going on a road trip. One group is going to New York, and the other one's going to drop the other couple off at Chicago. So that was my idea, and I that's when I came up with erotic road trip adventures, which turned into ERTA, the complete series. So essentially, I wrote the first book of that out of that dare. Like all these ladies were like, "We'll gobble this up. We'll buy your book," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "All right, this is sex sells," because I sat there with that one sci-fi book for like 2.5 years, or one, no, 1.5 years, and it didn't do good at all. And this was toward late 2016, and then I wrote that book, and it sold okay. But then there was a lot of author drama. So I told this whole story to go back to there's a dark side to readers, and that is that they form these book reading cliques, and they. Oh, sorry. I hope it didn't cut off. You
Oh no,
guys
no,
No,
can
you're
hear
you're
me?
all
good.
good.
You're good. You're good.
Oh yeah, my computer went quiet for a second. They form these book reading cliques. So this group, what they're actually a clique that follows a specific author. So the big drama with it is, my wife told me to lie to them, and I hate this to this day. So what she did was, when I was in that forum, she was like, "Don't tell them you're married. They would rather like hear that you're single." And I told her like, "No, I don't. I think that's a stupid lie." But at the time, I wasn't showing my face or anything. She was like, "You just need to hide." And I was like, "This is such a bad idea." But I listened to her because usually her gut feelings are right. But in a funny way, it was right because they swooned over me. But
Yeah,
then it was a stupid ass lie. And what happened is my dad, back on the Facebook days, liked my banner. Like, when back when we had our pages and it was a big
Yeah.
deal to like the pages.
Yeah.
Yep.
So freaking all these, like, I only had a few hundred likes. So one of the ladies took it upon herself to dig through every single fucking like and found my father.
that's crazy.
And then my father's profile is open. So then she was like, "I'm telling everyone you're a liar. I saw the pictures of you and your wife. I saw the pictures of your wedding." And then when she did that, I started getting a bunch of fake fucking reviews on Goodreads because they started fucking bashing me. And then
Oh
I got like
God.
a 2 star, and then they stopped buying my book. And I was like, I told my wife, like, you fucking got me in trouble, right? So that pretty much fucking nuked my author career. I'm not joking. Like, ever since then, like those ladies, like whatever fucking shit spread after that, I didn't sell my book for years. Like it was like by the time I finished, I wrote the first 2 books in 2016, and then I finished the third part in like 2018, because like from all of that drama and shit, like I didn't even want to write. And then I finally finished it. My wife's like, just finish what you started, and then start a new like start a new book. And by the time I finished that book in 2018, it was 666 pages. I turned it back into a sci-fi from the freaky stuff. And I was kind of really proud of it because I what I did was actually sneaky. I I I did a lot of kind of personal growth in my head where I was like, you know what? If people actually do find out my real name for my science fiction book, and I wanted to be beneficial. So what I did was I made a puzzle. I pretty much made it where at the end of my ERTA book, if you ever read my sci-fi book, you would notice that the realms connect. Or I was planning on, if people get to the end of my ERTA book and they DM me and they're like, "What the fuck is this? Like, what happened to these people?" Because that's what the ending should make people do. Then I would drop the ball and be like, "Oh yeah, well, if you want to know where she came from, then read this book under my real name." So I was trying to bait people back into reading like the sci-fi, and it didn't really work because my, like, as you guys didn't know, that books just don't sell that well. So it's a grind when I actually do sell books. I don't think people are really reading it because I don't I'm gonna be honest, I've yet to get that DM. I've yet to get the DM where people ask where the fuck this one character came from and why
Hmm.
she did what she did. Not one DM yet, and it's been since 2018.
Oh,
So I've
jeez.
been pretty unsuccessful. Yeah, I know everyone thinks you should fake it till you make it or lie until people believe you, but let me just be honest. Yeah, I haven't got that DM. All I've got is author drama and shade. People trying to steal my books. I gave hundreds of books away on Smashwords with the coupon code thing. And all these people said, "Yeah, I'll do your review," and they never fucking did the reviews. I back when they were bullying authors in like 2018, 2019 for advertising, they were or trying to get the reviews. I would DM them like, "Hey, you promised me you're going to do the review," and they would fucking screenshot and be like, "This author's a bad guy. He's being pushy," and I was like, "You fucking stole my book!" Like, it
Yeah.
was terrible. So yeah,
Yeah, I
have
had
you
someone
guys?
reach out to me on Insta. Actually, I have people reach out to me on Instagram all the time, and I have to like screen the conversations pretty thoroughly and see what they're trying to go for. And I had someone approach me and they're like, "Oh, we'd like to do a free review of your book and yada yada yada." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'll gift you a copy through Kindle." And they're like, "Oh yeah, we can't do Kindle in my country. Just email me the PDF." And that's like an immediate block from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're trying to steal your shit. By the way, they can rip your stuff. So these ladies have proven. I'm gonna say ladies because there's never been a guy. I haven't. No guy's been reading this stuff. So just in case people are listening to this, like I'm targeting women. I'm not. It's only been women reading the book. No guys so far that I've known have read the book. Maybe one bought it, but I'm pretty sure it was for his girlfriend or wife. But um, yeah, these ladies, they stripped my book. Like I gave them the free book on Smashwords and I found it on pirate sites right after that.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they have
there's
software. I don't know how they did it, but they fucking stripped it. And one of them was mean enough to send it back to me like, well, I was offering my editing services, but since you don't want to, here's it in PDF or something form and I can edit it for you. And I said, how did you strip this book?
Oh my
Because I
God.
kept telling her I don't want an editor. I can't afford one. I'm an indie author. And she was like, "Well, I found these mistakes and I took it upon myself." And I was like, "How did you get this?" And she's like, "I have my ways." And I was like, "Look, no." And then right after that, I found it on more pirate sites. And I was like, "This motherfucker got mad at me, then dumped my book on more pirate sites." It had to be her. Like, it was fucking crazy. Like, it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I've seen several other indie authors on threads, lamenting the very same thing where they keep finding their books on pirated sites. Like, my book just released a week ago and I've already found it on pirated sites, or um, like they're buying copies of the book off Amazon and then starting their own store and then selling the books for like double the price.
That's actually
Oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah, weird shit. Yeah. Oh, that hurts too. Was I gave a few? Yeah, I gave a few. Gave almost 50 copies of my other book, the first sci-fi, out in person in Vancouver. And instead of people doing the reviews like they promised, they just started selling it on like eBay and
Gee.
all the thrift bookstores.
Gee.
So I know so people are really reading the other first sci-fi book. They're just getting it for free. So yeah, it's just what a fucking ride, eh? You think like, you do your creative process and then people will purchase it, but it's always kind of like some shady shit going on, drama and shade, and it's just like, man, I just want to sell these books and I want a fandom that people are just like, holy shit, you did such an amazing job, and then it fuels me to like write more, but I don't get the fuel anymore. So Threads is helping me out a lot though, which is so fucking surprising. Like I've made more sales grouped up uh in the last 2 months using Threads than I've ever done on Twitter and fucking Facebook. Twitter I had a big bang one time, and Facebook I had a big bang one time. And Facebook was fucking crazy because it was literally like a weird guilt trip situation where all of these people I had, when you make your Facebook group, I had an author's Facebook group, and all of them fucking lied to me. Like on the actual release day of the full series, all of the people that swore to God they could not wait for this book to come out started playing me. Like I was like, here's the link, here's the link, here's the link. And I guess what those people did to me. You guys tell me what kind of reply I got. I'm sure you guys have all had this. Tell me what they did.
Like can't afford it right now, or this, that, or the other thing. Like
No, that's
most
a
People
lot
asking
of
for free
talking.
copies.
Yeah, they wanted the free copy. So guess what they
yeah.
did is they sent me the fucking blue thumb.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
god.
yep, the blue thumb.
The blue thumb. I was literally, here it is. You've been waiting 2 years. Blah 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 blah. Fucking blue thumbed me. And then, like you said, it
Jesus.
was all to make me feel like shit, to make me feel desperate. And then I would go, oh, do you want the free copy? Like that's what they were doing, was trying to like pressure me and make me feel desperate. So then I did get desperate, but I usually back then authors seriously got bullied, and I had enough, so I aired them out. I was like, you guys all fucking lied. Because remember back then, they were bullying you really hard, talking about authors' etiquette. They would always nail me to the wall, like, you can't do this without a PA. They were trying to fake BPAs. Remember that shit? I don't know if you guys have been in any of this. They would try to position themselves where they'd be like, you can't talk to your own readers. You need a PA to do it, and then you got to pay us to do that. So then when I was trying to directly say stuff, they were like, well, you shouldn't be DMing us anyway. They were playing in my face pretty much because they wouldn't mind me DMing them if I offered the free books, which was what they wanted. But
Mm-hmm.
for the whole, I waited a week and no one bit, and then they were trying to like edge me to like get desperate. So I was like DMing them, like, what's going on? And then one of them was like, oh, you shouldn't really be actually DMing me. Mind you, she and I had been talking for 2 years since my other two books, which two of them I had given her for free. I didn't want to give the whole fucking rest of it away for free. So then she played me like that. So then that's what triggered me to write, like, all of you guys are fucking liars, and like you guys do want free books and blah blah blah. And then somebody tried to bash me about it, and it was like, it's just the way a author's life is. But then, like, for some reason it didn't work. Usually when people do that, it works and everyone starts beating you up and bullying you online. But a lot of them were like, yeah, we did lie, blah 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 blah. And then I just started making a lot of sales that day, and it was so much that I made it to like top actually made it to number one in the erotica sci-fi genre. And that was the first time I saw that it was possible to do it. And I was like, holy shit, I did really good. I made a bunch of sales. And then it just died. And then I was like, I tried to gain momentum. And then later on in life on Twitter, I used to cause a shitload of like arguments and trouble, like not being mean, but I was like the heckler kid, like fucking jumping back and forth between, just trying to get my name out there. And I'd argue with anyone just to get, because like if you're not arguing or talking, you're not going to get seen. So I was just arguing with different people. But then COVID happened, and then my arguments got serious because I was separated from my wife and son.
God.
I was in Seattle and they were in Canada, and my son was just born. So what happened to me
Jesus.
was like, yeah, so I was separated from them for 2 years. So like COVID made people. No, I don't know which side of the COVID spectrum you guys are on, but for me, COVID made people very extreme, where they were like telling me shit like it's worth the sacrifice of being separated because the border's closed. And then like I hadn't ever told people on Twitter what was wrong. So then I slowly started telling people like, hey, by the way, I'm isolated from my family, so I don't really think it's worth the sacrifice. And then they started jumping on me like, oh, like it was very tied closely to being conservative or liberal at the time too. So they were like, oh, you're just a conservative conspiracy theorist person. And I was like, well, if we're digging down into it, then math don't fucking work, because clearly you can't read the box that says like it doesn't stop aerosols. And I said, hey, so what is your breath? Is it aerosol or not? And then they were like, get mad. I was like, well, your mask doesn't work when it gets wet and you're breathing in it and your breath is full of moisture. And I was like, and it's a virus, so let's do math. And I would ask them like, okay, well, if it does stop viruses, but it can only, and the particles are 1 micron, but it can only stop 3 microns, how many virus particles are going through a opening of three to like three if it's one? And then they were like looking at me like arguing with me. So I was getting bitchy with them. And I was like, if these safety protocols are so important to you guys, then I asked them a question. I said, so if COVID is gonna kill my wife, who's gonna take care of my baby? Or if COVID's gonna kill my baby, who's gonna take care of like my wife? Like, and my wife has postpartum. Is it really safe for her? Is the COVID protocols protecting anyone the way it's supposed to? And all of these people killing themselves because they lost their jobs, their businesses, and their life. So then I wasn't an author anymore. I was fucking triggered talking point on COVID, and then I stopped selling my books because I'm fighting people for real. I stopped being a heckler and funny, like fucking arguing with people on Twitter about COVID policies. And that sucked because all I really wanted to do was be with my wife and kid, right? My
Yep.
wife had postpartum. My son's fucking 4 months old. I'm missing his whole babyness. And I can only see him at the border park. And these fucking people wanted to close the border park too. So, yeah. Yeah. Sorry if
Yeah,
you
that would
guys.
definitely.
Yeah.
No, that would definitely be super tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then.
So after all of that, how did you get back into writing? Because you said you kind of got away from it in 2020, and here we are in 2025, and you're kind of like boosting it back up again. So how did you get back into it after all of that?
I haven't even really wrote that much, but back to marketing more. What my God, I guess my second win started to come from marketing because I noticed that the readers didn't have so much of a voice as much anymore. Seriously, like the way we're marketing on Threads, like the way we're talking on Threads, the booktuber people used to bully us. When did you guys jump into this game? Because the way I can post my book, like the way I can post my banner, the one that like that freaky banner part, the one that has the Raya quote. I don't know if you saw it, but it's like a super freaky quote. And when people ask for book recs, I just plug my link. Man, buddy, we in 2016, 2017, 2018, if you did that, these motherfuckers would be beating your ass. They'd be like, "You're not supposed to do that. You need a PA, and how dare you just directly market to me?" And they're not doing that. So I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get bullied for fucking self promo. Like, I'm back in this bitch." Because like, how could you not self promo? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen on the Threads community, like you do see some people like they'll grab like a screenshot or a quote from somebody saying like, "Oh, authors shouldn't be self promoting," but then the response from authors is like, "No one else is going to market us, so we need to market ourselves," and that seems to be the resounding opinion on that is like there's definitely some etiquette to it, like if someone's asking for recommendations, like that's a good place to do it. Like if you pop into someone's thread and they're talking about something completely different and you're dropping your book, that's probably not the best place to be doing that because they're not looking for it. But most people are they're searching for it, and like what you said earlier about not just tailoring your algorithm to authors, but it's to potential readers, whether they're actively looking for a book or if they're just not unconverted readers. Like it's all about finding the right spot to
Yeah.
drop it to make sure that it's welcome. And I've never had anybody get on me for dropping a self recommendation, or I'll even recommend a bunch of other authors. Like I see stuff all the time like, oh hey, any good sci-fi recommendations? So I always pump Forbidden Origins up. Or like, hey, I want a good like thriller, and I know a couple other authors on there that's what they write, so I'll boost them up. Or romantasy or this or that. So I help try to promote other authors on there if they're not looking for a horror read, which is mostly what I write.
Right. Yeah. That's what exactly, man. Like and Threads is not like you said. They're not knocking you. Like I'm respectful. Like if you guys can dig through my thing, I only wait to see if they ask for a book rec and I even ask them first. Like hey, usually I ask them first if unless it says spicy. I say hey, what do you want to read? What do you like before I even try to plug myself in? But sorry, excuse me, but back in the day, man, doing that shit, you get fucking bashed. And just like you said with the screenshot or something like where they would try to say like you shouldn't be doing that, they would dog you the fuck out. And like it killed my spirit because I was like, if I can't, like you said, if we can't do it, and I can't trust these fake PAs, man. They just wanted money. They were just trying to make you pay them, and then I don't even know who they're marketing for. They were trying to be PAs to a bunch of different authors, so they had no fucking loyalty. Like they were just trying to collect money from different authors, pick their favorites, and try to be on the in crowd. And then it was terrible. Like so, I guess what's got me back at least breathing again is the fact that I can take marketing back in my own hands without getting bullied by the readers, which was nuts to me. And then just the fact that I found that I can slightly convert non-readers to readers has given me more hope because like I said, like all these booktubers and stuff, they're all busy. They all want to read ARCs or they're all reading the same fucking loop of books. Like I'm not a hater on that. Like when I say that, but like we need to fit in too. And we're not going to fit in if they're all reading Onyx Storm and Fourth Wing and what's the other one that's come out? A Court of Thorns and Roses. If they're all reading
Yep.
that, they're not going to fucking read our books. They're not. They don't have time. And then even if they read it, they're going to be low key about it because it's not the hype thing for their channel, right? They're not going
Mhm.
to they're not going to fucking say they read the book. They're going to stealth read our shit. They might hook us up with a rating and then they're going to like post what's good for booktube and book world aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we might not fit into that. So I'm trying to pick people who they don't often read or they're curious about a book and then hopefully they fucking try mine. It has a better impact for them, you know?
You
That's my
know,
point of
Yeah.
view anyway.
it's funny. It's funny that you say that because I've never paid attention to book talk, even though I like to read. I've never paid. They'd always came off as corny to me. They always seem like corny people, and it's just like, and then it's just, I just like I said, I've never paid attention, and they've never even been a factor to me. Even writing with Forbidden Origins, I never cared.
Mhm.
You know. That being said, though, I'm sorry you went through that. That sucks. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah. And like
It's a
book
cool.
talk, like for me, I first published in October, and I just barely started getting on the book talk. And like I'd say that TikTok didn't really do a whole lot for me as far as like sales or marketing, but I did get my first review ever from like a very small book talker, and she had a very glowing review for me, and I was like, oh, this is great. I still have it saved on my phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like listen to it when I'm feeling the days where I don't feel like writing. I was like, okay, she liked my book, so I can do this. I can
that's
do this.
awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
And it's
Yeah,
nice. It's
no.
nice getting that encouragement, and I'm glad that you found more success on Threads and a healthier community. I think there's just you go through waves in social media where like places will become like really toxic, and it's hard. Like even really big authors. So I follow some. I used to follow some big authors on Facebook, and there was a group specifically, like a fan group specifically for this author, and he was going through a lot of stuff in his personal life, and it was taking a while to get like the next book out. And then the
Yeah.
readers and the fans in the community started like you said, like bullying him and being mean and like, hey, when's this book coming out, when's this book coming out? And eventually like he left the group because like he didn't want to be a part of it anymore, didn't want to hear all the crap anymore. And we're talking somebody that's like, not as big as like Stephen King, but in that community, like it's a pretty like recognizable name in that genre.
Mhm.
And it's just crazy. And I was like, I don't think I ever really want to do all of that.
Yeah, it gets rough, and then yeah, and I'm sure his DMs were worse, and then like yeah, the like if I could just tell you how many people lied to your face, like on his back end, Two, I'm sure it was all of the people that he thought were his friends started to do it to him the most, because that's what happened to me. Was like all of the people I really thought were there for me, when I finally clicked that publish button and start sending them the links to get all of those blue thumbs, or or same with the COVID thing, is like some of those people I said, hey, I haven't seen my wife and kid. Like I know, because I waited almost a year before I started telling people. Like I would slowly DM people like, hey, by the way, like I haven't seen my kid, like unless it's the border park. I haven't, I'm not with my family. And they'd be like, "Oh, where are you?" And I'm like, or they would say, "Where are they?" And I'm like, "Canada." And then they were like, "Oh, just go home." And I'm like, "But I'm working in the States and everyone's losing their job. So I need to keep my job. Like I have bills, we have a house, like I can't just leave." And then they were just like, "Well, it's worth the sacrifice." And I was just like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
so
that's easy
just
to
like
say
you
when you're not in that position, you know?
when you're, yeah. So it made me like I'm still angry actually. Like I just can't imagine, like, so what you're saying with that author, when he's going through his personal shit, I'm sure his DMs were atrocious. Like I bet you he told some of the people he thought they were closest to him, like, "Hey, I'm going through this," and they were like, "Well, whatever. Like, when's your book coming out? And send it to me." Like, no one gave a fuck. They probably just send me your free book when you're done. I want to read it, and I'm gonna be your PA. Like, they don't give a fuck about you, and that's pretty much like what I learned. Was it's like, I know what I was trying to say. There's there needs to be a barrier between authors and readers sometimes, but the worst part is the barrier between authors and readers is that people won't read your book if they don't know you. But when people know you, they won't read your book. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you got to
Like,
find
Yeah,
this like
I get what
middle
you mean.
ground.
yeah, this
Yeah.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't be complete strangers, but you can't be friendly with them either.
Yes, and there's no way to. How the fuck do you pull that off? As soon as you start talking to people, they're gonna start getting to know you. Then they know your little quirks. You might start really liking them. Then you tell them more about you, and then they judge you, and then it's like it's game over from there. Like if they buy your book, they're not gonna really want to read it because then they're used to seeing it, and it changes the perspective of you and all
Yep.
this other shit. Yeah, it fucking sucks. It sucks. It's such a weird. I don't know how other authors did it. Like where they built their following. Where's that? Where? How did they build that? What's that threshold of just
Mhm.
momentum of readers? Maybe I'm switching words, but you know what I mean. How did they crush a threshold of being too close and then changing strangers to readers, and then those strangers actually being a good fandom where they're not invading their personal life and just generally like the realm they built without needing to know every personal detail about them. How'd they
Yeah, I
do
feel
Yeah.
like
that?
that's a hard balance where you need to keep a bit of distance between you and your readers.
Yeah. I don't know. Does that happen to you guys where people are like invading you guys and just because that's what people do to me too, is like want to know everything about me, and then if I do expose stuff about me, then they ghost me or leave me on red, and it's just like, why the fuck did you investigate me? Like just to read my
Yeah.
book, like I'm under investigation, you know?
Yeah, I can't really say. I mean, I only published my first book in this past October, and I noticed that there's some people on Threads that comment a lot more, like a lot more, repost a lot more. Mostly some other indie authors I built some relationships with,
Mhm.
and like I haven't really anybody. The only people I get DMs from are scammers and bots, and they're very
Yeah,
clearly scammers and bots.
yeah.
Um, Usually, like I'll humor them for a little bit because I don't want to just like block somebody immediately because like I would get my feelings hurt if somebody blocked me immediately. So
Yeah.
I'll exchange a few words with them, and then after a while, I was like, okay, it's very clearly that you're trying to get something out of me, and I'm not giving it.
Yeah.
Right.
I even recently I reached out to a friend that I had made on Threads, and I was like, hey, I'm not sure if this person is like for real or not. Like, what do you think? So I sent them like screenshots of it, and they were like,
Mhm.
fuck them, block them.
Yeah,
Oh, then
no.
they was a scammer.
I don't really use my threads to like promote writing so much. Like I do just have my pinned thread as the book that I have out. Um
Mhm.
So I have it more as like a personal account, but I have made a few friends on there, and like some of them are like, "Oh, like I bought your book," or "I'll buy your book," but I'm sure they haven't read it. You know, it's more like a nice gesture type of thing to show like that we're friends, I guess.
I read your
Oh,
book, Angel.
You read it? Thank you. I
I
appreciate that.
did.
have
I
not
read
read
it.
yours.
I read it
It's
before
on
we
my
ever
Amazon.
even talked.
did
Did you really?
you check your sales report when they said that? Because that hurt my feelings. A lot of people would tell me, "Oh, that's actually what had happened." I didn't tell that part. That's what happened on the Facebook. They would blue thumb me, and then a lot of them later on, when I did get like desperate, I was like, "Hey, how was it? Hey, what's going on?" They'd be like, "I just got your book," and my sales report was empty.
Oh God. No, fortunately I don't have the access to the sales report stuff because it's all through Forbidden Origins through
Oh, I
our
see.
founders Armani and Eric. So I don't have access
Oh,
to that, thankfully, and I'd rather just not even look at it. You know?
oh, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah, looking at the sales report is both a blessing and a curse because I can
I'm
see
sure.
my sales report for my self-published book, and it's some days it's like, wow, this is really working, and other days like no one's reading anything.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
sure you're just like sometimes sitting there like refreshing, trying to see if anyone's buying it, reading it.
Read.
yeah.
Well, I'm also on KU, so I keep track of the page reads. That's a lot less depressing for me
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
until I
okay,
see
yeah.
the
Can
until I see
imagine.
the royalties estimator.
Oh God.
Oh, I see. I didn't do Kindle Unlimited. I need maybe to do one. But back then there was a scam with KU where, not even maybe not a scam, but they kind of fucked the authors over because people wouldn't turn the page, or they would find a way to read it without turning the page. It was something fucked up, and it was screwing the author over because the people were finishing the book, but it didn't count the page, and that scared me to
That's
death.
weird.
So, yeah, it
That's
was
weird.
something.
I know
Yeah,
there
it
was a
was.
thing. I know there was a thing
Uh-huh.
back in the day where like, because so like the way that the KU royalties work is, there's like a big pool, and however many pages that you read or that are read for that month is like split up among all the authors on KU. But we're talking like
Oh,
millions of dollars spread around all these different authors. But what people
Mm.
were doing is they were publishing like 5 to 10 page things, and people would use their borrows on that, and they were getting it was done by books finished, not pages read.
Mm.
Um,
oh, so they're
so
kind of like
so
scamming the
these like
customer.
scammers were like they were scamming the KU borrowers, the members, and then they were like reducing the amount of money going to people because like there's a big difference between like finishing a 10 page book and finishing a 700 page book.
Yeah,
Right.
So like
Yeah.
authors are getting screwed like that, and they fixed that.
thank God.
They
Okay.
fixed
So
that.
it must have been something like that because I stayed the fuck away from KU real bad, and I was like, yeah, they're just gonna, if they buy it, they buy it, and if not, they do it or whatever, and then
Yeah,
yeah.
and I was like that. So when I first published my book, I published it digital only, so available on Kindle. And then a bunch of people were like, "Is it available on paperback?" Because I only read paperback, and I was like, "Okay, fine." So I published it in paperback, and I got more sales, and I was like, "All right, cool." And then a bunch of people were like, "Hey, is it available on KU?" And I was like, "No, no, it's not, but I'll do it. I'll do it, and I'll see how it goes." And as soon as I published it on KU, like my page reads started going through the roof, and I was like, "Okay, this was a good idea. this is
Oh, so
working."
it was a good idea. Maybe I'll try one book on KU.
Yeah, try one book and see what happens. Say, hey, now available on KU, because you know people are already paying a monthly subscription to KU, and they want things to read, and there's some sort of like psychological barrier between like dropping money on a digital copy of a book and just using a borrow on KU that they're already spending money on. And it's worked for me. I can't say that it's worked for everybody, and I really don't know what a good amount of page reads is, but I'm happy with it, so we'll go with that.
All right. All right. That's good to know. That is good to know. All right.
Yeah, no, that's
Perfect.
great. Also, looping back to what you were saying about converting non-readers, I feel like that's what our founders Armani and Eric were doing, because what they were doing is like creating animated scenes from the book, like they were animating them in like 3D and posting it
Yeah.
to TikTok, and then people were like, "Oh, is this a video game? Is this a movie?" And they were like, "No, it's a book." And so then they went to go check out the book, and then that gave them a bunch of sales and like exposure for the company and stuff. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
man.
I've been
Mhm.
posting excerpts from my book to try to attract people, like draw people in. Like, hey, here's some excerpts from the book, and it would intrigue people, and they're like, "Oh, where's it at?" I'm like, "Oh, it's on Amazon. You should check out the link."
Yeah. I'm looking at a lot of this stuff too. It's crazy. So your horror book is part of the Forbidden Origins realm as well?
No, my horror book is self-published. I did it myself. I mean, like Eric and Armani helped me with the formatting on it because even though it's not under the Forbidden Origins like banner, they're like super supportive of like the self-publishing journey and indie authors in general. So they helped they helped me with the formatting on it, and they gave me like lots of advice. Like I had a little meeting with them. I was like, okay, so how do you do this? And they're like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this, you should think about doing this, and da 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 da. And then, I self-published my horror stuff because the right now Forbidden Origins is just the old universe, which is their main sci-fi series. And I am doing some stuff with Forbidden Origins, like this podcast and the blog, and I'll be releasing a book with them later this year. That's a sci-fi series that takes place within the old universe. But my horror stuff is just my stuff. That's my self-published stuff. I did that myself. Like I contracted my own cover artists and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking. Okay, I got you. Okay. I'm looking at the old universe stuff. This is just so pretty. This is.
Oh yeah, I mean like they've put so much into the website and into the world building and like all the originators, which is the group of writers and artists and everybody else that's like contributed to it. Like we've all put a ton of work into what's going on there.
That's probably what's
into like the lore aspect.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, that's what's I think what makes us unique compared to most companies like that are starting around like us, like startups. I guess you can call it that. Is that we're kind of hitting different avenues. We're not just promoting the book through the cover or through like some like promotional art. We're using 3D assets. We have music. We have a podcast. We're gonna be starting up like an actual YouTube channel where we make content, playing video games, reacting to movies and stuff like that. It's truly a multimedia company, and I think that's what drew me into this company as a whole. And I think that's kind of the future of just media in general. Is you have to be multimedia. You can't just be one thing. You have to
Exactly, which is like this podcast and YouTube and just that's exactly what I was thinking too. Was like, why don't I just talk on a podcast? Why don't I introduce myself? Why don't I like just thinking about those kind of things? And like I said, since I realized, I'm not gonna get bashed anymore for like self-promoting, then fuck it, I can do it. And then I was just thinking about like why don't I talk to whoever and just see how it goes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of authors that are doing that, like especially like with TikTok going away for that like 14 hours that it went away. Like a lot of book talkers went straight to YouTube, and then when TikTok came back, they're like, "Well, I'm going to keep doing TikTok, but I'm going to keep doing YouTube too." And they're doing book reviews or they're talking about their writing process. I think that's how people, like what you were talking about earlier, like crossing the threshold between like letting the readers get to know you, but still keeping a barrier. Is they're doing podcasts and YouTube channels and stuff like that. So you get a little bit of a look behind the veil of the book without like, having to have like long conversations with people every single day. It's, they're branching out into all these different avenues. And then on top of all that, it's multiple different revenue streams for like indie authors, because you might not make much off of individual book sales or off of an individual YouTube channel or off of a TikTok creator account. But when you start combining all those things together, then like, oh, hey, like actually something is happening here.
Yep. And it's all about like getting your name out there, So having all these different avenues, different platforms, whatever, like I feel like it not only helps with sales, but it'll help with like down the line if you ever want to work with other people, you're kind of known already.
What kind of sci-fi is this? The old universe? Is it like powers? Is it, or it says space opera here? So is it? So is it? Are you guys? Is it in space or?
So the old universe, the concept behind the old universe is before the Big Bang, there was the old universe, and there was a cataclysmic event that caused the Big Bang that created our universe, and that's what the story of the old universe is the culmination of events that leads up to the Big Bang that created the universe that we currently live in. So they call it like a space opera, like epic sci-fi fantasy kind of thing, and that's what it is. Like there's cosmic space dragons that people fly from planet to planet. There's giant battleships and space battles. There's people that have the ability to use something called spear energy, which is the old universe version of like magic powers, and it's a lot more nuanced than that. But that's what it is. It's multiple characters, these large scale battles. Like I think in book 2 that just released this past November, they have a 7-chapter battle that is just epic in scale, and that's what it is by space opera. It's these massive events that affect multiple different planets. Like all the different planets that you see on the website are planets that are mentioned or seen in the books or short stories or on the blog, and just creating this whole grand universe for all these different stories to take place in.
How do you say it? Aoi?
Yeah, you do this one, Angel, because I screwed up the last planet.
Oh God, I think it's Aoi.
I believe.
I'm actually not sure about that one. None of us created that one. That one I believe was Armani and Eric created it. Fargulk, yeah, that's that one I do know.
Fargulk, Scav, and Rashlon.
Rashlon,
or Rashlon?
Rashlon.
A good way to explain it, if you like, you're talking to your friend about it, is it's basically Dune in Star Wars. It's the old sci-fi of Dune with like the battles of Star Wars. With magic. Heavy magic.
With magic. Got you. So what kind of weapons and stuff they have? Like spears, or is spear like spirit energy? Like they're using like their body energy or alchemy or
it's cosmic energy.
So the spears that are mentioned is like in the lore, it's like what created the universe is there's 2 spears, the spear of time and the spear of space. And so there's these 2 like basically gods that each has one spear, and out of those spears comes the spear energy, which is basically like the magic that regular people can use.
Yeah.
But there is also like regular weapons like rifles and stuff. Only some people can.
Yeah.
Most people have access to it. There are some people that don't have any connection to spear energy, but they're a very small portion of the population.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's very stylized. There's different factions. There's space pirates. There's super soldiers. The Black Palace is the main faction, the enemy faction, basically like the Galactic Empire, and they're very stylistically, they're kind of like Nazi Germany, very stylized, very like stylized, very aesthetic. And they're basically the bad guys, and then the Allegiance are the good guys, and it's like your hodgepodge of different different planets trying to fight against him, led by the son of the bad guy, the Allfather, Corrin. So it's a big family drama.
It is. At its very core, if you put aside all the space battles and all of that, it is a family, a story of a broken family.
Yep.
Father and son working through some shit.
What's on Corrin's eye? Is that his power? Or is his eye just dead?
Oh, his one whited out eye. That's like so if you look at a picture of the Allfather has 2 white eyes, and the Allfather had Corrin when he married I can't remember what planet she was from now. Dang. But a regular person from one of the planets that he created, and they had Corrin, so he's like half god.
Oh, he's half god. I see.
Yeah, he's basically a demigod.
Yeah, and the eye is like a representation of that.
Oh, I see. Look at me. See, I've been digging through your stuff.
Yeah, no, this is like lore with a side of books.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's very lore heavy. That's why we have the website though. So you like if anyone reads the book or if they're interested, they could like go in there and like read everything for free and see like what it's all about.
Yeah, we have a blog called Archives of the Old Universe that's full of like short stories and serials and like news articles and things like that that all take place within the universe, so that people can go up there and kind of like see what's up.
Where are the bad guys in the web page? I'm looking for the bad guys. What are
Oh,
they
it'll be
called?
the Black Palace. If you use the search bar at the top of the page, look, I get to plug the search bar now.
Yeah, we do that. Black palette.
But yeah, if you plug the search bar, you should be able to get a page that says like the Black Palace Military, and on that web page, it'll go into like what the Black Palace Military is, their symbols, like what their troops look like. It'll have some images of the All Father, different branches of the military. Like it's very in depth. There's definitely some animatics on there. I'm sure Armani has put animatics on there.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, here they are. They look kind of robotic. Oh,
Yeah, that's their armor.
Kinda. That's like the armor spacesuit thing that they wear.
Their spacesuit.
Yeah.
Oh, this is their rank: soldier, sergeant, company leader. You guys went deep into this, Lieutenant.
It is deep
Yeah, we're nerds.
lore.
Oh, so they have the fleet ranks, the people who fly in space, the occupying forces. The occupying forces are like Marines, I take it.
I think the militia.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's like the
Unnecessarily
militants that are
security
stationed on
corps.
like different planets.
It's the garrison of the. If they conquer a planet, they leave a garrison behind. That's the occupying forces.
Yeah, so the occupying forces would be like the army, and the Marine Corps would be, the people that go in and invade the new planets. But they don't really have to do that since the All Father's already taken over a bunch of the planets.
I see this. This is pretty. I dig this. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, they look pretty cool. You guys can tell I write sci-fi and I like sci-fi because immediately was digging through everything. And I'm always on the bad guy side. I don't know why, man.
Yeah, we actually have our first comic book coming out this month. 4 days, actually. In 4 days.
These lies end in death.
Yep.
I can't.
And that
wait,
one's
guys.
all connected to the lore of the old universe and stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for that one. That was gonna be
Which
really
planet is it, Angel?
cool. It takes place on a planet called Mariana.
There we go. That is the correct planet.
Yeah.
I thought
Not
I thought
Miera.
that one in our last
Or
episode.
Miera.
Damn, you guys don't know Mariana?
Luke apparently doesn't.
No, Luke doesn't.
You don't know Dry Deck City?
Luke doesn't.
Luke doesn't. Luke knows Miero and Jargoomba
Yep.
and Brooklyn.
And Brooklyn, yeah.
And Anrock too.
That's right. And on Rock.
My baby.
That's right. That's your baby.
That's
Or
my
the
baby.
planet
That
knows.
was your baby, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Doesn't
all
it feel
the lore.
good when you have your little written baby? Your little. It feels like
It's your
Oh,
child.
yeah. I know. I have like 10 copies of my book sitting on a shelf in my living room.
Should I share an idea that I had for Onrock, Luke, Angel, but like it's not gonna happen?
Go ahead.
I want to blow it up.
You want to
The whole planet?
Yeah,
Oh, you want to
talk about killing your darlings?
blow the whole planet up?
Yeah, I had an idea because I just got done watching Battlestar Galactica, and in Battlestar Galactica, the humans are like they lose their planets to the Cylons, which are like like Terminators in space, and they're.
Hey, I'm an old man. You know I know this.
Yeah. So you know how it's like. Well, Angel doesn't know, I think.
Oh,
But
No, I don't
Angel,
know.
what are you doing?
that's what we're always saying. Basically, what comes down to, Angel, is that the humans they're in a convoy, a fleet of ships, and they're on the run from these robots, and they're like nomadic. They don't have nowhere to go. So I had an idea where, well, what if the Black Palace finally decides to deal with Onrock, which has been like dealing a lot of heavy blows in the Galactic War against them by drilling down. They launch an invasion, but Onrock's like, what are they doing? They're not taking territory. They're just focusing on this one spot. And it turns out they're just drilling down into the core to drop a nuke.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
jeez.
But why do you want them all to die? Just it would what? Yeah.
I just wanted to
For the
switch it up.
drama.
Oh yeah, for the drama. I wanted to switch it up, but I
Dramatic
wanted there
effect,
to be just higher stakes. Like these, even though they were an incredibly advanced military, incredibly just powerful, they're after this event, they're low on supplies. They're low on ammo. They're low on armor. Like they're every time they get into a battle in my head with the Black Palace after this event, they're scavenging the dead soldiers for armor, for ammo, for rifles, for food. You know, I just had this idea of desperation being a running theme.
So it's kind of like that vibe where World War II, Russia versus Germany, where they give one Russian soldier a gun and the other one a clip, and they say, "Okay, whoever dies first, pick up the other guys."
Oh God!
Kind of.
Enemy at the gates.
Kind of. I had this idea in my head where if we were to make art of it, because the Unrocky soldiers, they look like, I told Armani and Eric and everybody else here, the Unrocky soldiers in my head are basically World War II U.S. soldiers, but like futuristic, like as if they're in space. And I had an idea where this new art after this event, the regular trooper, they're walking around with like the green camo and the green armor, but they have like Black Palace shoulder pads strapped to their shoulders. They have chest pieces, knee pads. You know what I'm saying? Like their armor's dirty, it's jank. Some of them have Black Palace weapons. You know, so
I like
anything works.
Yeah, some of them have like hunting rifles. You know what I'm saying? Like shotguns. You know, like this universe's version of that. Like civilian weapons,
like whatever they
can
find.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
So, I forgot why we axed it because we have future plans for On Rock, but
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm comfortable sharing it. Like I'm not like that. I wasn't married to the idea. I just thought it would be cool. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
have On Rock. Oh, go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of room to judge because I write horror stories and I kill off a lot of characters. Some characters that the readers get very upset about.
Oh, you're darn.
And other characters that the readers are like, good, I'm glad he died. You should have made it worse. More violence.
Balance.
Yeah, there's a balance.
Yeah. Yeah, Noah, since you have On Rock being like basically super powerful, like overpowered. And I'm writing this faction called GPS, which is like mercenaries. And I was gonna have them like basically blacklist On Rock. Like none of their militia could go there because it's just so dangerous. It's like a class S danger planet.
Our insurance doesn't cover this.
Exactly. Yeah.
they took a look at the coordinates. Their eyes widened. No.
Yeah, they're like, no one's picking up those contracts.
Not for any amount of money.
Exactly.
This is interesting.
Not
this
that
is really cool.
I just thought it'd be funny.
Author O.M. Wills, it's been great talking to you. Is there anything that you would like to leave listeners with?
Thank you. Like honestly, I'm just grateful. Sorry if I sounded salty about the COVID topic or anything like that. I just really wanted to go home and see my baby. And my
man, you're totally valid.
That's understandable.
And just thank you guys. Like legit grateful. Like yeah, just being seen, being noticed is insane. Like that's all I ever wanted, and it's just the innocent want of any author. And sitting with you guys definitely know that feeling. So I really appreciate it. And if you guys ever like, my podcast is not big, but if you ever need to shout anything out, if I ever gain momentum on that podcast, just hop on. DM me, be like, bro, I'm hopping on. I need to hop on your podcast to spread the word, and I will help you do that. Because legit, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Readers, you can find me on Amazon, and just I'm looking for that one DM, like, or multiple DMs, and asking me what the fuck, because the end of my book has a lot of what the fuck moments, and I'm waiting for that, for all of you guys to ask me what the fuck in multiple ways, and I'll leave a breadcrumb where, like, the war that happened in Israel, I called it in my book a long fucking time ago.
I did see that. I was reading the sample and I saw that you mentioned that, and I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah, so because I was overseas, I was in the U.S. Navy, and I was actually, my ship was over there during that 2006 war, whatever the fuck that was called. And they made a documentary. The Israelis made a documentary about that war, and it's, oh fuck, I forgot the name of it. It kind of inspired part of why I wrote ERTA, the complete series, the way I did. Nate is Israeli and Raya is Lebanese, and they're married because it's oil and water. There's a here, 2000. 6. YouTube. Hold on. I'll tell you. Vid. Israel versus Lebanon. You guys should watch this video too. It's a cartoon, and it stays in my brain. This fucking cartoon. I forgot the name of it. It's so crazy. Something that inspires you to write a whole fucking book, and then you can't even remember. Hold on. Israel. Who knows? They probably got rid of it. Israel versus Lebanon cartoon. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
It,
Take your time.
You're all good.
um, it was like a documentary. It was really sad, but it pretty much explained. Holy shit! Did these people hide this story?
Might have gotten
I'm
taken
gonna
down by
tell it.
or
It's
something.
pretty much. It was pretty much showing when Israel invaded Lebanon how these two soldiers could not stand what they were doing. They could not stand the war, and they got in the water, or one of them got in the fucking ocean, literally laid in the water, like looking at the sky, and pretty much floated back to fucking Israel because the border it's not that far, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was just like what the fuck are we doing kind of moment, and it was pretty much I took that mindset of like when soldiers go over there, they feel that way, but in this circumstance in my book, um the corporations on both sides know what the fuck they're doing when they start the wars. So I like legit in my book, what do you call it? Not Beirut. What's the name of the capital in Israel? My brain's not working. Israel,
Is it Jerusalem?
Tel Aviv, right? Tel
Oh yeah,
Aviv,
Tel
I
Aviv,
think.
Tel
Tel Aviv.
Aviv.
Television.
So in my book, like I can give a little spoiler of where some of the characters at the end, Tel Aviv was getting rocket attacked, and then these corporation people were walking through it. So I had like like when you write, you can tap into that fucking vision, that deeper vision, and I was like, this shit's gonna spark off multiple times and it's going to escalate. But in my case, the way I wrote it was that the way the corporations are spinning it is kind of for profit and kind of for. I don't want to tell the rest. I want people to read it, but they'll see what is happening. And then I was waiting for the what the fuck because I feel like it's real. I feel like some of the real reasons they're fighting is because of that. And how do I say this? And my proof of that is, if you guys ever notice when we go to war or when people go to war, they always blow up the historical sites.
Yep.
Like,
Mhm.
like if it's hieroglyphs, people blow it up. If it's like libraries, they burn it. And I think the real reason is because like our civilization is hiding the old technology, the old ways, and pretty much like a Battlestar Galactica moment. What had happened before will happen again, kind of
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Mhm.
Right.
So that's kind of in my book too. Like pretty much that's why I wrote that story. Is the companies are kind of like erasing history or hiding it and collecting it, kind of shit. But it's more to it, and that's what I'll leave you guys with is that I called it. I felt it coming for a while. Yeah.
All
Well, awesome. Well,
Yeah, man.
everybody who's listening right now, you can find OM Wills on Amazon. Go look at his stuff. Go read it, and start getting those DMs. Start getting
Yeah.
those DMs to him so you can figure out what happened.
Thank you guys too, man. Seriously, I'm gonna dig in. I'm about to watch. I'm about to grab my son and we're gonna watch these videos from your channel right now.
Yeah, man.
Get
Hope
it.
you enjoy. It was really great talking to you, dude. You're a really cool guy.
You guys are cool too. Thank you so much. And yeah, DM me anytime. Hit me up anytime. I'm happy to talk to you guys.
All right.
Absolutely.
Right?
Noah, you
See you,
want to
man.
close us out, Noah?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us for this last episode. Thank you, Owen Wills, for joining us. Thank you to my co-host for joining us. And everybody have a good one. Stay safe.
Thank you. Bye bye.